Good morning, everybody. I'm here with a friend of mine who is also a friend of Amy Wick. She met Amy around 2014. And I'm going to let her share a little bit about her life and what she's doing differently today compared to years ago. She does have three numbers. Uh, I believe her husband was murdered, and I'll let her share a little bit. Okay, Misty, what's your whole name?
Hi guys, it's Misty McLaughlin Valentine.
Okay.
I turned 36 years old next Friday. I'm the mother of a 16-year-old next Saturday. Only child. Been married 3 times. My third husband, who was murdered Father's Day of 2015 at the corner of Hudson and Joyce by a guy in an attempted robbery um, over the fact that I drove a Mercedes Benz that I worked hard for. I got out the streets, worked a good job, all of that. My husband wasn't in the streets, never been in the streets. Lost him to that. Last 3 years, it's been a downward spiral. I am a recovering addict. My drug of choice was crack cocaine. I've been clean since November 2009 off of that. The only thing I do now, which is medical, is my marijuana. I'm prescribed with psychiatrists and other doctors to have it due to PTSD. Um, been in the penitentiary 3 different occasions. A drug charge. I have prostituted myself. I have stolen and done everything possible for my addictions and survival.
Okay, how did you meet Amy Wicks?
I met Amy because I had gotten into an altercation with one of the prostitutes on Sullivan Avenue, to the point that the female brought her boyfriend, whatever you wanted to call him, a known gang member, to the scene of where I was. He shot up the house, and I had reached out to Amy from a referral through my actual cousin who doesn't even live in the city because I'm not from here. So Amy was guiding me. She was talking to prosecutors to try to get me into safety and things because of the circumstances.
And Amy was good at that. She had a lot of connections when it came to the county, the prosecutors, and that's why we worked so good together. I had the connections in the state, she did in the county. She was teaching me the county, I was teaching her the state,
Mm-hmm.
and she got a lot done because if I would forget what to say, I would kick her, and there she goes talking. Then I would kick her again to shut up, and then I would forget something else, I would kick her again.
When my husband got killed and Amy got called, Amy was the first one at my apartment the very next morning. She had Channel 6 with her.
Right.
She made a big deal about it because they had begged for me to get protective custody. We didn't know if it had to do with the scene that I was already a part of or what at that time. But Amy, during the whole time, stood beside me. Never left my side.
She was very caring, I know that.
She made sure that I was in the safety zone. She called Ron O'Brien.
Right.
She was on it with my victim's advocate to keep me in safety, to make sure that I didn't relapse, that everything was as it should have been.
Right. One thing that Amy used to instill in me, and of course I already knew it somewhat, but it's so important that we forgive those that hurt us so that we can heal as people, as tough as it may be. Have you came to that point yet,
Um,
or still working on it?
I got to physically see my husband's killer finally in October of 2017, face to face in the courtroom. And when I got up to speak, I made it clear that I probably would never in my life be able to forgive him. That's just something I couldn't, and with my beliefs, the way that they're set up, I believe in an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. It was quoted by the Columbus Dispatch that was
Right.
my final statement to the killer. But it was out of my control.
Right.
It is, but it isn't. because
Right.
I can make the rest of his life.
Right. I think we can learn to forgive, but we can never forget. And I
I,
don't think we're expected to forget.
I'm trying.
Right.
I really am. It's just, I think it's going to take longer. It's been 3 years. But with the fact of the situations that I'm going through,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard.
Right. I understand that. Now, what happened to the killer on his sentence?
His original charges was 1 count of aggravated murder, 2 counts of murder, 1 count of aggravated robbery, and 1 count of weapons under disability.
So he could have got the death penalty.
That was the original plan. Was death penalty. We was going to push for capital. That fell through.
Right. But me and Amy, we went to quite a few of the murder trials, and she always pushed that they would not get the death penalty. And as tough as it is, none of us really would know what we would do unless if it happened to us. But that,
I
yeah.
wanted it. I wanted the death penalty,
Right.
and my mom and them was very adamant about you need to just let him live the rest of his life in prison. Well, he's not even going to live the rest of his life in prison at this point. He only got 14 years.
Right.
Thanks to Franklin County's probation department for putting the state witness in jail when they were told not to.
So they messed up. So they had because really his rights probably were violated. That even if you don't want to see it, he still had rights. And he's supposed to be proven innocent till guilty, but we also know the courts don't operate that way. You've been locked up, and you know that we're guilty until proven innocent, and that's how our judicial system works. And I know one judge in Franklin County, not mentioning his name, but he prejudges people, especially against certain crimes, which would
To
make
be
him not successful.
honest, with the judge that my husband's killer had, I thought we was gonna get what I wanted. I thought we would at least get life, because the judge that he had, which I'm not afraid to disclose, was Judge Fry.
He's
And
not in anymore, is he? I think he retired.
he had to have retired after the trial.
Okay.
Because
I think.
that was my husband's killer's trial on October 26th.
Right.
And I kept it in my mind because I know what everyone says about Fry. Fry is the worst judge to go in front of.
I've heard that.
I've heard it, and I've talked to people who's had Judge Fry.
Right. Now, what are you doing different today than you did before you got locked up? Even before your husband was murdered.
I'm actually back with the same company that I was with before my husband got killed. I have now been deemed their call center manager. I'm opening up a brand new call center with the company. I have a very good rapport with my owner
Mm-hmm.
and everybody. Trying to pull myself back together, looking for housing that is more adequate, more stable.
Do you hire felons?
Yes, depending on the felony background, due to it's not my company
Right.
that stops it. It's our suppliers. Because of me being an energy broker,
Right.
my third-party suppliers that contract us can be picky. Now, do I have a way to work around it? Yes, I do. I've got some leeway that I can pull some people.
Okay. What do you recommend, or what's your suggestions to people that are struggling or people that have been involved in violence? What kind of advice would you give them?
Reach out for help. And I know it sounds to some easier said than done, and I'm one of those. It took a lot out of me to reach out to Jim the last couple days for some assistance I needed because of my pride, and I've always did it on my own. I've always brought myself up out of the dirt with no help. And it finally has gotten to a point that I had to reach out.
Right. And you reached out a lot to Amy over the years.
Right.
And Amy was always there. And Amy is better at this type of situation than I am. But we picked up a lot of Amy's work the last couple of years. I don't have the patience Amy did a lot. I'm working on it. But it sounds like that you're overcoming a lot of issues that you had in the past. And one thing people don't realize, women coming out of prison, the suicide rate is very high, especially those that are recovering addicts.
Yes.
And we need to be able to reach those people. That's why we have a female on a board that's over the prison issues who was locked up at ORW. That's Amy McAllister. We could go and get advice from her. I remember the first time I was invited to ORW, I was the president of Ohio Cure, and I said, Amy, you need to come with me. I'm scared of those women. So Amy went with me. She brought a book, and everybody liked the book. I think she left 1 or 2 copies there.
I have a copy.
Yeah, I have an autographed copy that I would never let out of this house. Amy said, to my best friend, fly like an eagle. And I remember that, and Amy loved the eagle. And that was one of her favorite things, besides the song by, what's his name? Michael Jackson,
Well, I've picked
The Mirror.
up Man in the Mirror.
Yeah.
I have picked up on one of Amy's therapeutic sessions, music therapy.
Right.
I don't care who sees me singing and everything when I'm driving. If it's what keeps me sane, then that's what I use.
Yeah. When Amy sang that Tapestry song that we used at, I think it was her funeral, I actually filmed that video. And of course, I Googled on Google, and I got some of the Tapestry Tapestry Girls stuff. And one of them, they had a little black kid on from Africa. And they were talking back and forth, and they sang "You Little Light of Mine" and a few other songs. The men's prison doesn't have anything like that, and I wish they did, because everybody was in unity. Everybody liked each other for the most part. And then they still meet out here for reunions. Amy took me to one of their reunions. Of course, I was the only guy there, and I'm kind of shy when I'm with a bunch of women. But I was really impressed with some of the stuff they have on rehabilitation compared to other institutions. Mm-hmm. You know, but
the women's penitentiary there's not too much for us, but there is. The main program is the Tapestry program.
Were you part of that?
No, I didn't have enough time.
Okay.
All 3 of my numbers were actually short stints. The first one I did for Jackson County, I had been put on probation, and so forth and so on. I violated, or my probation officer violated me on a prescription medication. I was prescribed Adipex at the time. When she drug tested me, I came up positive for cocaine.
Right.
I actually had a full-blown prescription for the medication. We gave her one of my pills. She sent it off. They was able to clarify.
Right.
She had planned on keeping me in jail until I went to court. Well, the judge went above her the very next day and released me. To screw me over, she sent my court date to the jail knowing I wasn't in there.
Huh. Well, we're going to cut this off, but Misty is on Facebook. What's your name again on Facebook?
Misty, work hard, play hard, McLaughlin Valentine.
Yeah, and I thought that was your name all this time.
No, the work hard, play hard was my husband added it, and I've never changed it.
Right. Okay, everyone. Have a great day.